So say hello if you're here and welcome. So I'm Jenny McFadden, and tonight I'm going to be doing a masterclass called 5 Things That Are Stealing Your Joy and How to Stop Them. Because what I've discovered over the years is that many people we all want the same thing, and that is to feel joy. But for some reason, although it's our natural state, it's what we're really born to be and born to feel, for most of us, it seems to elude us a lot of the time. There seem to be things that get in the way, things that prevent us from actually feeling joy. So great. Thank you, Rosa. Welcome. And what I want to do tonight is share with you the 5 things that I come up with that I think are the things that everybody experiences that gets in the way. And what I'd like to do at the end is give you a little bit of details about the my program that's coming up. It's called The Art of Joy. And it's not a big sales spiel or anything like that. I'll tell you a little bit about it as we go along, and then you can decide if it's something that's for you. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I'm really excited about this program, actually, and I'm excited about being here tonight because, I don't get much of a chance to be out and be talking with you, and this program that I've put together is something that allows me to do everything I love to do, and it's really exciting because it's the first time I've really done that as a combined program. So one of the things the thing I really want to talk to you about is what steals your joy, what blocks your joy. One of the main things that I see is that we are often there's a lot of people walking around pretending, so joy pretending we're happy, pretending it's all good, when really what we're feeling deep down is really unhappiness. We're feeling sadness. We're feeling things that we just want to try to put to the side, but we don't really know how to let it go. We don't really know how to change it. Our lives seem to be full of busyness, of things that we have to do, of people we need to take care of things that are not always going the way that we would like them to go. And when that happens, it's hard to sort of feel joy. It sort of seems to get lost. It's really hard to find. And it's sort of like a distant memory. You know what it's like, but you just can't get that alignment happening. So what I want to say to you is that you really can find that again, and that's what I'm here to help you to do, because when you find joy, you actually enable the flow of abundance, you enable your creativity, you enable the ability to attract things, because joy is a really high vibration emotion. So that's why it's so important. And the other thing that it does is it actually helps you when you're aligned with joy. You actually have a better ability to discover your soul purpose. And I know that's really important to you as well. So tonight I'm going to take you through. Let's get into it. If you've got a pen and paper, you might want to write down some of the things. I'm going to give you some practical things actually tonight as well. You might want to take some notes, because some of this is really going to relate. Some of them are probably going to be, you might have all 5 joy stealers, but 1 or 2 of them might be really major ones. So, 5 things that are stealing your joy and what to do about them. Let's get on with it. So I've got a slide presentation tonight. Let's check this out. This is all cool. All right. So if you are seeing my screen and that's looking clear, can you just let me know? You're seeing my screen. Just want to make sure it's coming through to you and you're able to see it. Sometimes these things get stuck and I don't know about it till later. Yep, beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for that. That's great. All right. So this is what we're doing tonight. 5 things that are stealing your joy and what to do about them. So first of all, I just want to tell you a little bit. Oh gosh, the slide thing's not working. Would you believe it? Here we go. How's that? It's working. A little bit about me. The reason I want to tell you a bit about me is because some of you don't know who I am, maybe haven't spent much time with me. My background is in teaching, in energy medicine. You can see I like color. You can see I have a creative side, and I know that you probably do too if you are here with me. And I didn't always used to be this way. I have worked in many jobs and done many things. But what I have discovered is that there are, like over the years, I've been guided to there are many things I've studied, and what I've been guided to do is bring those things all together and bring them to you tonight and share those with you. I'll just sort of show you a bit about me. This is kind of where I live. This is my, little mini art studio. And this is something, I've started to do again. I lost it for a while. Maybe you're the same. You're creative, but you're not using it. Here's my family. This is one of the things that I created from being in joy, and changing, my mindset and doing different things within me attracted the things I wanted. I don't often show pictures of my husband and son. There's my little boy when he was little. That's us on holidays. Been together for a long time. Here's some of the stuff that I create myself, because really being in my joy has allowed me to live my passion. It's allowed me, when I really am creative, I create all kinds of things. Creative energy is so powerful. That's just some of the things that I do. And it's also allowed me to work with other people, because when you're in joy, stuff starts showing up that you want. And so it's allowed me to work with lots of other beautiful women to, actually help them get their creative flow going as well. Because it's part of, if you're a creative person, having and we all are, you're right. This is just the way that creativity comes out for me. That's some of their work. But the reason I'm here and the reason I'm doing this is because my main mission in life is to raise the consciousness of the planet so that we can experience peace in our lifetime. That's why I do what I do, is because when you're in joy, your consciousness is is going faster or higher, I suppose, if they're the words that you want to use. And this is really important to me, because when you get up to feeling in joy, you start to realize what your purpose is. You start to feel and attract the things that you want in life. You start to feel the way you want to feel, and things just get easier. I'm not sure if you know much about this, but here's just a little bit of thing about, if you're not, familiar with consciousness and that kind of thing. This is called the levels of consciousness, and this is put together by a fellow who's David Hawkins. You may have heard of him. And what he did was he measured the frequency of different emotions, different states of being. And you can see joy here. Just look at the middle one. You can see that goes from guilt through to enlightenment. And they have a number beside them, and that number is a sort of level of frequency. And you can see how far joy is up there. And I know many of my friends are already up in love. But when you go up to joy, it changes everything. It's another big step up. And it makes you feel incredible. And the other thing that's really important about this is, from a healing perspective, is that joy it doesn't allow lower vibrations like guilt, apathy, grief, fear. You can't experience both at the same time. And that's why being up there is so powerful in terms of your manifestation, in terms of attracting things. As soon as you start to drop down, and we all move around, it's normal to experience all of them. But if we can, on a more consistent basis and in easy ways, lift ourselves up and increase our vibration, you start to get the benefit of that in terms of healing and in terms of attracting things you want, and things just get easier. All right. So the other thing I want to share was that one person living and vibrating at the level of love, which is not even at the level of joy yet, counterbalances the negativity of 750,000 other people who calibrate at lower weakening levels. And that's why that's so important to me, is because it changes the world. So when you make take it on, not only do you get the benefits, but the whole world does. And that you're actually supporting people you've never met, which is a really powerful thing when you think about it. That's why this is so important to me. So one of the things I want you to think about is, what do you normally rely on to make you feel happy? So if you normally rely on things outside of yourself, so just have a think about that for a moment. What do you normally rely on? And if you're here with me, just put in the chat room what you normally rely on, so I can see the things that because for me, what we normally rely on is other people to lift us up. Sometimes we rely on food. Sometimes we rely on going to nature, or we rely, sometimes there are some things we rely on in order to feel happy. Just let me come back to my screen. I'm just going to come over here. Yeah. So I want to take a moment to reflect on what you normally do in order to feel happy. All right. Where's my... Just got to find how these things work. Oh, yes, slide presentation. There it is. And I'm going to switch between screens here, back and forth. Let me come back. Where am I? Where am I? Got to get used to these little things here. Oh, yeah, cool. Here we are. All right. And often what we do is we blame. We're not aware of it, but we often blame for why we're not feeling happy or not in joy. And the reason I ask you to do this is because it gets you to go to the inside of you and start to understand what you're actually doing. If you're like blaming, because often we'll say things like, well, I'm unhappy because, you didn't show up on time, or, I'm unhappy because of the way my boss behaves, or I'm unhappy because, we often blame situations or other people for why we're not feeling happy. And I just want to bring that to your attention, because what it does is helps us notice and understand when what we're doing is looking outside ourselves for what we're blaming. And the reason why that's so important is because you can get stuck there. You can get stuck in it's someone else's fault, or it's because something happened. And when you get stuck in that, you can start to feel like you're a victim. You can start to feel like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. And there are difficult things that happen in life and things we have to deal with. But it doesn't stop you from choosing how you want to feel about it, choosing your thoughts and things like that. And that's just what I want to bring your awareness to. And so what I want to ask you is, what difference would joy make in your life? So Rosa says, take a walk on the beach is one way that you would feel happy. Beautiful. Yeah, and I think nature is one of the things that we often do. I know Doris and a few other people said the same thing. And ask yourself, what difference would joy make in your life? Like if you could actually feel more joy on a daily basis, if you could wake up smiling, if you could wake up feeling inspired and motivated, look forward to your day, look forward to your future. Imagine, what would that be like for you? And would that be different than what you're currently experiencing? If you're saying yes, then you're in the right place tonight. So let's get on with what's stealing your joy. Let me just come here. All right, because what happens with the joy stealers is they basically take away your ability to be in alignment with joy, and that's a really important thing to understand. So what I want to say is that for me, in a nutshell, joy is about really three things. When you can have your imagination, or your thoughts, your brain, your mindset, the way you think, how you're imagining things to be, when that's in alignment, when you feel connected to yourself and you feel connected to your guides and you feel connected spiritually, soul connected, and when you're able to express yourself, in whatever way that is, these are, to me, the three most powerful things that you can be doing to feel joy, because when you have those three, you feel energetic, you feel creative, and you feel inspired. How would you like that? That's, for me, that's really powerful. So the other thing you can ask yourself is, if you are not in joy and you're feeling, that things are difficult, ask yourself, what are you doing right now to make a difference? Is there something that you're doing, or are you just kind of, thinking, well, there isn't anything I can do, I may as well just accept it, think it's all too hard. What I want to say to you is that it doesn't need to be that way. So what are the top 5 joy stealers? Here we go. I'm going to give you lots of insights tonight. You might want to write them down. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm going to give you some things to do along the way. So joy stealer number 1 is what if. And what if, every time you have the thought, what if, what you're doing, especially, it depends on what's coming after it. If what you're doing is thinking, What if the worst happens? What if I never find a relationship? What if I never get the job I want? What if I don't get any money coming in? What if, and what you're doing is you're going out of the present, and every time you do what if this bad thing could happen, you're actually going to the future, and what you're doing is going to the future negative. Because we have the ability through our thoughts to kind of imagine our future, either the way we want it to be or the way we don't want it to be. And when you do what if could go wrong, what if might go wrong, what if something bad happens, what if something doesn't happen that I want to have happen, we start to create the feelings within ourselves that we don't want to be having, which is you start to feel anxious, you start to feel overwhelmed, you can feel stuck, you can start to feel paralyzed, you feel really tired because there's no energy in those questions. So that's a really important thing, because what you're doing is going to an imagined future, right? A perceived reality that isn't actually, it's a perceived reality that doesn't actually exist. And you're forming it, creating it, thinking about it, and feeling it. And so that is in no way aligned with joy. So that's the number one thing. So the symptoms of what if, are feeling anxious, worried, overwhelmed. You feel, inertia, your doubt. You may overeat. You may feel panic. You may feel stuck. They're the symptoms. When you're feeling that way, there are thoughts that go with it. The two things go together. You can't actually separate them. And most of us are aware of our feelings, but not of our thoughts. It's sort of like our bodies. We feel emotion, and that's usually a stronger signal than noticing what we're thinking, but they do go together. All right. So as I was saying, when you do what if, there's two places you can go. On the left-hand side, you can see there's the what if, the catastrophizing, or you can do the other side and start to do different types of what if questions. So what if, you can make what if energizing, or you can make what if draining. So it can be a joy blocker, a joy stealer, or it can be a joy energizer. It depends on the way that you ask it. So if you're doing what could go wrong, and you're imagining what could go wrong, what won't go right, you're thinking about and imagining and creating this whole picture and images and feelings and thoughts and building and constructing this future negative. Unfortunately, what happens is, that's the way the universe works, is the more you do that, the more it responds to you and begins to send you things that support that vision, because it wants to support what you want, because we're really powerful beings, and it wants to support you, and it will send you things that confirm that. So it's really, really important to notice what you're doing if you're doing the what could go wrong type of thinking. So what I'm going to suggest to you is, I'm going to ask you a couple of different questions. You might want to think about this right now. What if I got what I wanted? I want you to entertain that thought for a minute. What if I got what I wanted? I mean, how would that be? What if you actually got what you wanted? Maybe that scares your pants off you even more than worrying about what would go, if you didn't get what you wanted. Maybe that scares you even more. I mean, take a moment to think about that and notice what happens in your body. What if you got what you wanted? Or what if it turned out perfectly? And as soon as you do that, your body starts to change. Do you notice? What if it turned out perfectly? You notice that your body starts to change. You notice that your brain is following what you are thinking. And it's starting to think about now what it looks like when something turns out perfectly. How simple is it to just start to change your neurology? And we know that when you repeat these things and you keep doing that, not only is it working on a brain level, but it's working on an energetic level. It's changing your vibration and helping you attract things you want. So what if you could switch that every time? I mean, they're amazing questions just in themselves. It's going to completely change, because then you're going to the future positive, all right, the future imagined that you want, not the one you don't want. All right. So Take 5. This is where you actually take a moment and write this down. Think about this and write it down. Imagine what you want for your future without setting limits. So don't put the, what's possible, all right? Because people will say, well, in reality, I can't have, or, they'll put limits on what is possible, what you think is possible. And in the universe, everything is possible. It is only we who limit ourselves. So imagine what you want to the future, even if you just draw a little picture right now, or you write a few words, write down, imagine what you want for your future. So choose something, whether it be something about your relationships, or what's something that you really want without any limit. If you want to go on an overseas trip and it's going to cost 20 grand, just write it down where you want to go. Is it, what is it that you really want? Write it down, allow yourself to feel it and smile, bring the emotion with it. Like, we know that's what creates. So allow yourself to go to positive future, the imagined future you really want, and just spend some time there without any limitations, without any restrictions, without any, things that say, well, that's not possible, or I don't know how that can happen, because that's your brain getting in the way. All right, it's your doubting side getting in the way. All right, so you're already now shifting, you're moving aside that joy stealer number 1, and moving back into alignment with joy, moving back into, as soon as you start to imagine what you want, you start to bring your energy back into alignment. How simple was that? All right, now, next question is, how would things change for you if you could switch to imagining a positive future? So if you could actually have that happen, how would things change for you? All right, let yourself go there. Let yourself imagine it. And this is just the start. This is like really the start of this process. And what I want to do now is I just want to, if you would like to take this further, I know a lot about how to really reinvent your thoughts, how to change, even just with these simple questions I've already given you. You can see how powerful these are. As you know, I've got my Art of Joy program starting in a couple of weeks. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you, or tell you just really briefly, because this is one of the things that we would be doing in that program. This program, in my Art of Joy program, is taking this further and going much deeper into how it relates to you personally, and taking you through specific processes to actually give you a lot more of this in a way that's practical and useful, that you can actually begin to make really permanent changes. All right. So in the art of, I want to say, one person who, I missed a slide there. Let me go back. Oh, I'm missing a slide. Don't know what happened to it. Oh, maybe it's afterwards. Let me have a look. Someone that I've already worked with, who's Bryony, who's experienced this herself, right? And she knows that what happens when you start to really get it back into joy is you start to feel that you are unshackled, right? You stop having these restrictions on yourself. You feel more centered. You feel more on purpose and clear. And she very nicely says, I hold space for people and I'm amazing and things like that. So, but, it's really important that you know that this transformation is available to you. I missed one of my slides. I don't know what happened to it. That's weird. Let me go back. No, not in there. That's all right. Hopefully. So what I want to tell you is that in the Art of Joy, one of the things that we would be doing is reprogramming your what ifs. So we will go a lot more into how to reprogram those what ifs and to how to shift your perception of the past. Because one of the things that is a real joy stealer is people you hold on to past events, past perceived reality, and think that it's going to be the same in the future. And you often get stuck with perceiving yourself in some way. And I'll help you find the strengths in yourself from past experiences that you think have held you back. So we're going to flip that on its head and actually turn them into positives and turn them into strengths and things that you can actually be able to see who you've become. And we're also going to, in the Art of Joy, identify what's really underneath, what's embedded within the things you say that you want. because what that's going to do is reveal to you your true source of happiness and joy. And that's what I'm going to take you through. That's one of the lessons. So that's in the art of joy. So if that's appealing, you already know one of the things that we're going to be doing. Joy stealer number 2 is believing in the stories we tell ourselves. So this is all about how, I don't know if you're Australian, you know that we used to have this thing called fractured fairy tales. And fractured fairy tales is when you take a story, they take a story like The Big Bad Wolf, and which is Red Riding Hood, and they tell it from a different perspective. So you get the wolf's perspective instead of Red Riding Hood, and Red Riding Hood looks like a nasty little girl instead of being an innocent little girl. And what I mean by that is what happens is we get caught up in telling ourselves why we think something has happened, why people have done what they did. And we can get so stuck with that. It's a really, really limited view. And we start to tell ourselves, and we create all these stories around what's happened and why people did what they did. And it can be you can get a really limited view. It's like focusing only on one thing and not being able to see the whole picture. And when that happens, you can have a completely distorted view. And one of the things I want to tell you about that is I had that experience myself a while back. It was quite a while ago now when I first started doing this work. Is I had a friend who unsubscribed from me. I used to get unsubscribe notices in those days, from the email providers. And one of my really good friends unsubscribed. And I thought, gosh, what did I do? She doesn't want to be on my list. Maybe she didn't like what I sent last time. Maybe I've said something wrong. Maybe, I did something that upset her. I don't know. I started creating this whole story about what must have happened, got myself all worked up about it. I felt really bad. I felt like, I didn't understand. I was confused. And I really got myself all tied up in knots about it. And I don't know if you can relate, if you can think of when you've done this yourself. Anyway, what I did eventually was I thought I need to ask her about it. So when I actually rang her up, I rang her up and was talking about other things. And I said, I noticed you unsubscribed. What, was any reason? Did I do anything? Was there something in the content that really upset you or anything like that? And she said, no, I just had 2 emails. And so I unsubscribed from one of them. And I was like, I've created this whole story from my perspective about what that was all about. And there was a whole other completely different perspective that I had no access to. And I was only seeing it in one way. I was only seeing it from one really close-up view, from my interpretation. And this is one of the joy stealers. It's like every time you start to say why someone did something, or start to, invent stories about it, you can often get locked into it. And that's especially to do with families, to do with past history, is to do with things like that. And we get caught up, and we can often blame people, blame our history, and why people did what they did. And it can leave you feeling angry, and it can leave you feeling resentful. It can leave you feeling disbelieving. It can leave you feeling all kinds of things. And it's okay to hold on to that story if you want, except that it's not in alignment with joy. It steals your joy. You don't feel happy about it every time you think about it. It steals it takes you back into some kind of story. And, we have the ability to rewrite our stories. And so I always ask the questions like, have you ever made up a story? Has this ever happened to you? Like with me, has that happened to you? Have you ever made up a story and then found out that it was wrong? And that's really important, because a lot of the stories we tell ourselves are completely untrue. Now, one of the things that they suggest often that we do is rewrite the story. And so that's one way that you can shift a story. Like, like a fractured fairy tale, instead of Sleeping Beauty, it's Leaping Beauty. You can completely change the story to your own delight, to your own satisfaction. And you can retell that story in any way that you like. And it's often very effective in changing how you feel. But sometimes there are stories that just won't work for, For example, if you've lost someone, telling yourself a different story. We do that to help ourselves getting back in balance, but it's not always effective. One of the other things that's really effective is about finding meaning. So when something happens to you, instead of, something difficult happens, if the story is not one that is really useful to you, it's one that you're still finding yourself stuck in, it's really important to be able to find meaning. We are able to do this. This is something that is a gift that we have as humans. We can shift our perspective. We can change our perception. We look for the silver lining in a way. It's like we're holding this rose. We're able to find the beauty in something. And this comes from Viktor Frankl, who was in the concentration camp. He every day found one thing of beauty. He looked for one thing of beauty. That even though he lived in a concentration camp, which has got to be like the toughest of all places to find beauty in your life, right? But it's possible. And so it's really important when you're especially in a difficult situation that you're able to find beauty. And that's I think a possibly even more important way to get around a story you've been telling yourself, or a story that you've invented, is to ask yourself, so if I were to look for beauty every day, to bring myself back to an alignment with joy, regardless of what I have experienced. So even if I have been through something difficult or going through something difficult, is to choose where you put your awareness. And the third thing you can do is reinvent yourself. And that means this is a more lengthy process, but when you're really truly free and change the story, it's really about changing yourself, reinventing yourself from the inside out. We can do beauty in every day, but it's something you've got to keep repeating. When you really reinvent yourself and you have that major shift within yourself that changes the emotions and changes everything about you, that's when you know you've really made a profound shift in yourself. And that's one of the things I do in the Art of Joy, is how to reinvent yourself, specifically for something that you've been struggling with in your life that needs to have a deeper and more profound change. So take 5 for a moment. Take a moment and notice something of beauty in this moment, because that's something you can do right now. And that's what's great about this strategy, is you can do it at any moment. At any moment, look around you right this minute and find something of beauty. Something of beauty. So I look around and I see this beautiful cup. And if you can see, it's one of these, what are they called again? Royal Dalton cups. Beautiful. And I bought them because I love to drink out of them. I love the china, I love the sound of it, I love the picture on it, I love the size of it. It's about appreciating something in every moment. So just do that now and notice how it already brings you back to a place where you can experience being in balance, or just, a moment of appreciation and appreciating beauty. Okay. And this is what I want to ask you, is what if you found beauty in every day and changed a limiting story? What if you could change a story that you've been telling yourself? And that's one of the things that I'll be doing. Here's Debbie. She changed her perception of the past so that she could see the gifts in herself and be able to take them to the world. And she was also able to connect with her guides and spiritual team. And that's another really important part of reinventing, is being able to go within. For some reason, all my slides don't show the Art of Joy. That's really weird, right? Anyway, have no idea why. Oops. All right. So here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to tell you. So in the Art of Joy, we'll be doing something called neuro reinvention. And that is actually a 4-step process to be able to reinvent yourself. And it looks at how do you actually reinvent yourself inside out around a specific thing that you may have been struggling with. So it's very personal to you, and I'll show you how to do that so that you can change what's happening in your whole self. Because it's not just your thoughts, it's your emotions, it's what you're doing, it's what's happening in your physiology. All of that contributes to your joy vibration, your frequency. And that's what I want to show you how to do. And it's amazing stuff. It's really powerful. And I don't know anybody else that actually does this work. So it actually reinvents your perceptions, changes the story, and releases you from the emotions that have held you stuck. And that's what we would, as we go deeper in the art of joy, that's what we would be doing. Okay, we're up to number 3. Number 3, Joy Stealer is Foofers. I've borrowed this from Amanda Gore, who's an amazing, thank you, Amanda. I've just borrowed this. This is her description for people when you tell them what you're doing, people in your life, you may have in your life or have experienced in your life, earlier in your life, who, when you tell them what you're doing, they foof on you. Another definition for a foof is like a little fart, right? It's like, and what it means is that, you know, the person you tell them what you're doing, you'll never amount to anything, or I don't think that's going to work, or, you know, come on, don't be ridiculous, right? And they don't believe you, they don't believe in you, they don't support what you're doing. And you may have experienced this in your life, and you may still have people in your life who are foofers. And, you know, what Amanda Gore says, and I love this description, is that, you know, what they are is spirit foofers. You know, inside of us we have this little candle, the light. You know, we are the light. That is us. And one of the things that you know, takes away from our joy, from our light, is people who try to blow our candle out. You like to foof out our candle. Of course, they can't really do it, all right, because we're in control of how we feel. We're in control of who we believe we are. But it can be really difficult when you don't know and you've had experience in the past, people who've told you, well, you'll never amount to anything, or that's not going to work, or, you know, they didn't believe in you, people who really, especially parents, friends, family, that you really wanted to support you and they didn't. Or if you've got people in your life who do it now, that they don't actually, you know, they foof on things you want to do. They foof on you. And I mean, that's a hilarious thing. But what I really want to say is that it's not even about the foofers outside of you. The more important one is the foofer on the inside of you. Because what foofing does is it changes your vibration. Now, if you foof on yourself, foofing on yourself is self-criticism, not believing in yourself, going into self-doubt. Foofing, it changes your vibration. As soon as you start to go into, well, I'm no good, I can't do this, it's too hard. And look, we all do it. All of us do it. But it actually, we know now that it changes your energy. It changes the aura around you. When you experience, you know, the lower vibration, self-doubt and fear and guilt, that your energy changes and it stays in your field, and other people can unconsciously feel it. And it's really important we don't want people around us like that, because although they don't actually, you know, directly affect us, they can be sort of spirit dampeners, all right? They can, in the frequency, you know, if you're working at a higher frequency and someone else comes along is at a lower frequency, there's an evening out that takes place, and you can often find yourself feeling more dropped down. So it's really important not to foof on yourself, because it drops your vibration, and there's no way you're going to feel joy when you're foofing on yourself. So really important to bring yourself back to being in your heart, to supporting yourself, to acknowledging your strengths and qualities, and to being an igniter, a spirit igniter, rather than a spirit foofer. So the first question, I'm going to take 5, is first of all, notice in your life who supports and lights your spirit, right? So they're going to be people that you have in your life who always support you, who listen to you, and who spend time giving you feedback about yourself that's positive. I'm really lucky that I have a lot of people. Most of the people in my life are spirit igniters, not foofers. I used to have a few foofers, but they seem to have disappeared. They've disappeared from my life. And that tells me that, because, you know, when things change, when your vibration changes, so some other those people will disappear. It tells you that something in yourself has changed and left. You know, you've been more self-supporting. So really important to be an igniter of spirit and spend time with those people whose energy is high, that keeps you buzzing and vibrating and keeps you in the space of joy. Now ask yourself, how would things change if you could be an igniter in your own life? So if you were being an igniter, supporting yourself, acknowledging your strengths, looking at your skills, looking at yourself from outside yourself, and igniting, you know, setting yourself on fire, how would that be? And here's someone else who's worked with me who one of the things that we'd be doing in the Art of Joy is all my Art of Joy slides don't show up. I have no idea why. That's really weird. Anyway, we're reperceiving your past history. So looking at your past history and being able to shift that around. There's a healing intention circle, a live healing intention circle that we'll be doing that's in addition to the program itself. And so that's when we actually come together as a group to experience healing and the higher consciousness, the community of being in spirit with spirit igniters. And when you come together that way, it's really, really powerful. So we'll be doing, I'll be conducting it, and we're doing it live and come together live. I'll be giving you some 6-minute meditations that help you, you know, stay in the spirit of igniting, coming back to your joy, coming back to your heart. And it's really easy and quick to do. And they're from some live meditations that I did recently, and I'll be editing them, putting them into MP3s for you. And there'll be a Facebook group so where you can actually be part of the group of spirit igniters, because it's really important to be with other people who are at the same frequency to support each other. It's so much easier to stay in alignment that way. And here's Tracy, who's also experienced the healing circles, and she said, you know, because people often ask me, is it the same doing it live as it is doing a replay? She's been there for both, and she's saying that she had the same response. So, you know, whether you do things live, we're all connected by, you know, the energy of an event, and that's why all of the Art of Joy are live. There are 6 live lessons, 6 live sessions. In addition, there is this healing circle session that's live, and there are some other things as well I'm going to tell you about soon. So, and she's also experienced how important creativity is as something that is an igniter in her life as well. I'm going to talk to you because there's also some creative stuff in the program as well, because for me, that's really important too. All right. Now we're up to Joy Stealer number 4. Joy Stealer number 4, monotone, monotone. How do you know when life is monotone? You feel bored, things are lackluster, you feel unmotivated, joyless, unexcited, you don't have any energy, and you just feel blah. Why is it? What is it that makes life monotone? You know, for me, what makes life monotone is when things are repetitive, when you're not in a space where you feel that you're actually connected to your purpose. And that's why joy is so important, is it because it brings you into that space where you can actually connect with that and start to get an idea of who you really are and what you're here for. And for me, monotone is when you are not in your creative self. Everyone has a creative side. For some people, it comes out in a different way, you know, so creativity looks different for a lot of people. For me, as you know, a lot of things, it's about color and it's about artwork. But it's really a brain thing as well. So, you know, although we know now that we all use both sides of our brain. It's not so divided as we used to think it was. But there's still a general tendency to understand that the left side of the brain is to do with being more rational, to do with, organizing and planning and being more logical. And the right side of the brain is to do with being more creative. It's about emotion. It's about intuition. And when you are being more brain-sided, if you think about what you've been doing most recently, if you've been doing a lot of planning, if you've been doing a lot of, things that are logical and rational, that kind of thing, you're going to be spending more time in your left brain. And why is that important? Well, it's important in terms of understanding that the right side of the brain is what brings you the color. Not just color in terms of life, but in terms of your connection to everything. Because when we feel connected is when our life starts to brighten up, right? We start to feel more colorful. Things start to show up more. We start to feel the, vivaciousness of being alive. That the connection, what I mean is that, we know if you've Jill Bolte Taylor, who was a neuroscientist who had a stroke. She had a stroke on the left side of her brain. And she was still conscious and only the right side of her brain was working. And she had this, and she wrote a book called My Stroke of Insight, if you want to learn more about this. It's an amazing, amazing experience. And she could tell us that the experience of being conscious and only having the right side of her brain meant that she was actually able to experience oneness. That the right side of the brain is this limitless limitless experience of being connected and one with everything. That, when we have this concept that in the universe we are in some way separate from each other, and what I do doesn't affect you, or what I do doesn't affect the world, or if I'm in my joy consciousness, it's only me that's doing it, it's not having any impact. And what she would tell us is the complete opposite, is that we are all in this sea of complete connectedness, that she couldn't tell the difference between her hand and the rest of the so-called real world around her, that it was all became one. And so that's why the right side of the brain, the creative side of the brain, this flow of energy, this connection to everything is so important. It is the way that we know who we really are as spirit, the way that we know that what we do, what we think does matter and does make a difference. So what we're doing in ourselves does change our environment, that we are connected and part of one of everything. We're not disconnected. It's only our left brain that makes us think we are. It shifts our perception and as we have this sort of capacity to be able to sort of think we are separate from things around us, but actually that's not true. And so one of the things we do in the Art of Joy program is I take you through a process to create a joy mandala, which is to get you in your right side brain, to get your creativity flowing and into the space of consciousness of joy. Because when you create a mandala, it's really important the consciousness energy that you're in when you do it. And when you create that, it's going to be personal to you. I'm going to take you through that process. It's something that it's a sacred vessel for energy of consciousness, for manifestation and for holding the space of transformation, the space for joy, consciousness and frequency that you want. So every time you look at it, it actually connects you with it. So that's what we're going to be doing in the Art of Joy to take this further. So it's really about asking yourself, what adds color in your life? For me, it's actually color, because I love color. It changes my vibration. We know that color itself changes the frequency of you. Always wear gray and black and white. You're not bringing a certain frequencies to your body that can heal. We know your body enjoys different colors. Your liver loves green, your heart loves red, your spleen and your pancreas love yellow. It's really important to wear color and to have color. It's a frequency, it's a vibration, and it changes. It's changing, it's healing. So actually real color itself. I get excited about color because I love it. So don't underestimate color, actual color in your life. But also it's about the passion, the excitement, the things that you love to do. So take 5. What did you love to do that you haven't done lately? And what I mean now is, what are the things that bring you alive, that bring that color back to you? What are the things that you love to do that maybe you used to do that you haven't been doing lately? What are they? And just write down those 3 things that fire up your creative inspiration, that energy. Just think about that. It's really, really important, because for everyone it's quite different. So it's important for you to ask yourself that question. Just take a moment and just write them down. And this sort of connects you into, this is about, bringing yourself back to joy again, getting rid of the joy stealer, which is the monotone, and bringing back color in whatever way it sort of it brings you back into your right brain. Did you used to do creative things of some kind that you haven't been doing? And write them down. Remind yourself. I mean, how easy is that to bring you back? Just as simple things that you can start to do today. And I want you to remember, how does it feel when you activate your creative flow? Now, for me, creativity is drawing, is playing with watercolors. It's just doing creative, fun stuff. For other people, it's knitting. Sometimes it's cooking. Some people, Sudoku is creative, right? It's different for all of us. What are the things what does it feel like? Bring yourself to the feeling of that. Just remember. And as I said, in the Art of Joy, what we'll be doing is creating a joy mandala. So there's a creative aspect to the program, which really excites me, because I love doing things like that, and I want to share it with you. I want you to get excited about it, and I'm really good at creating experiences that everybody can do. It doesn't matter whether you think you're creative or not. I can show you how to simply make something that's really stunning and that holds the energy that for you, that you can keep in your home, activates joy within you and within your space, in your environment. And it's really about self-expression, right? That's where you actually get to express yourself on a page. It's consciousness on a page, energy on a page. And it's a flow of energy that allows abundance. So if you are, out of alignment with joy, you're also out of alignment with abundance, because all the things you want, abundance, relationships, prosperity, whatever it is, the stuff that you want coming in, it can only come when you get back into alignment and you spend more time in the frequency of joy. And I want that artwork. I'm going to help you do that artwork. Doesn't matter if you think you're good at it or not. I'm really good at helping anybody at any level, whether you're experienced or whether you're a beginner, to create something that's really magic. And here's Agnes, who says, that she really, in the same way, was able to connect with her creative energy. And she's actually had a background, in art, but she actually found through this process that her creative poetry started to flow. So another way, another creative outlet, something else started to show up. So you never know what's going to show up. You just have to step into the space and allow it. She was really unexpected and so blown away by that. She was really excited. So that was really exciting for all of us. Okay, then we're up to Joy Stealer number 5. I guess you knew it was in there, right? Joy Stealer number 5 is doubt. So you go into all the stories about, the monsters, the things that we are scared about. You self-doubt. And one of the things that I find is the biggest self-doubt is particularly around, and it feels like anxiousness, and it feels like I can't make a decision, and it feels like, I maybe feel alone, and, I don't trust myself to make a decision. And so we can often, if you find yourself asking other people for what you should do, and sometimes you do things and find that you actually knew better. I know I've had this experience myself, is that when we go outside of ourselves, you go away from your own intuition, you go away from your own inner guidance, and you go away from what you really know is in alignment for you. Often it doesn't work. And what you've got to do is be able to bring yourself back to trusting yourself, rather than relying on, of course, it's good to get other people's opinion and feedback and insights, but in the end, you must bring yourself back to a place of trust and the place of feeling confident in your own intuition, in your connection to yourself and your connection to God, to the divine, to your inner divine intelligence. And that is one of the things that I teach a lot of, is how to come back to that alignment. And that's another part of what steals your joy, is if you keep going into doubt, self-doubt, and move away from what you really know is right for you. So what I'm going to do is just go here. If you doubt that you have insight, if you doubt that you have guide, if you don't really understand how energy works, there's nothing wrong with that. What I want to do is help you find your way back to really feel confident that you know how to connect with yourself, that you know how to connect with your intuition on purpose, rather than it be kind of a hit and miss. Is how to, I have processes for this that I use myself, really practical step-by-step things in how do you tune in to your intuition? How do you get messages from your guides? How do you do that? And that's something I can teach you. But what I want you to do is, the joy stealer is the doubt. Everyone, you have an inbuilt guidance system that will help you move into certainty, will help you move into knowing your truth, will help you to move into knowing what's right for you, not what someone else tells you. And when you do that, when you move back into what's right for you, come back into alignment, you start to create again from the place of energy, because it's coming from a place of alignment and a place of strength. And it's coming from what you know is right for you. And that's when things start to move more quickly, and you start to, manifest and attract the things that you want. So, for example, in my own life, I created a process many years ago now when, before I had a child I was 40, I think, or 39. I had a partner at that time who already had a child, and he didn't want to have more. And I wasn't sure if I did or I didn't. But I wanted to have a child and he didn't want to. And I thought, well, I don't know what to do about that. I would really like that to happen, but I don't know how that's possible. But, and what happened was I went to a dance class and met someone else, not intentionally. I just went, I was guided to go. I thought that'd be exciting. And I met someone there who's actually who I'm married to now. And I've been married to for a long time. But what I want to share with you is that I created a process where when I first met Steve, my husband, I created this process, and I wrote down what I wanted to have happen. And I did this process, I folded it up and I put it away. And many years later, I found it when I was actually doing relationship work, and I was talking about how it's really important to come into the place where you actually are able to say what you want and trust that, right? To be able to express it and put it in positive terms, is that, to move out of doubt. Because when you move out of doubt into what you want, you start to transform your energy, and the universe starts to come to you and help you create it. And it was only like probably 4 or 5 years ago, I found this same piece of paper, and I opened it up. And I must have opened it once before, but I don't remember reading it. And it was like I had all these things written down on there that are all the things that actually happened. So, because at the time there was a lot of uncertainty around the relationship, it was quite new. And then I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew what I wanted. It felt right to me. I trusted my instincts. I trusted my guidance. I trusted what felt right. And I knew it was right, but I didn't know how it could happen. So I wrote down all the things, how I wanted it to turn out, and it all turned out exactly like that. But here's the kicker part, is that the date that I wrote it, it wasn't so much, this was the part that my jaw dropped, is I wrote it and it said 29th of the 4th, the year 2000. And I had on there that, I married Steve and I had a baby, blah, blah, blah. And then exactly 1 year later, 29th of the 4th, 2001, is when my son was born. And that's when I went, wow, okay, moving into trusting when you know something is right. is so powerful because of the energy. It's in alignment. And there was so much joy in the relationship for me, although I didn't know how it was going to work out. And so I just want to share that, because that's what I want you to know is so powerful, that it's really important for you to move into the place where you can trust yourself, and trust yourself with abundance. Trust yourself that it can show up, will show up, and joy is the place where abundance is created. So really important. And you know, when you're building your trust in yourself and you're building the trust in your guides, it's a step-by-step process. You know, you do one piece at a time. And it is something I need to show you how to do and help you with in a step-by-step way, because there are a lot of questions I get asked, and you'll be able to ask these questions. I'll be able to give you a process for being able to tune in that you can keep using and keep reusing, because building your confidence, you know, it's like this. They all come together, and then they make this beautiful bridge that you can trust and feel confident in yourself. So take 5. Here's a little way that you can test your intuition right now. So here's what I want you to do. You've got a ruler here. And this is testing how accurate your intuition is. You will need a drink for this. You need a drink of water or some tea. Just grab something. Don't drink it yet. Just grab it, and I'm going to give you a little experience of a simple way that you can build trust in your intuition. This is a really easy way. So just grab your water. You need this as part of this exercise. And you can use this anytime. My husband uses this all the time. Right? It's really, really easy to do. You know, the eyes are the windows to your soul, right? Your soul knows everything. You know that your soul is always in alignment with you. Your soul is always, you know, is connected to God, right? It is your God self. It is, you know, your pure light, your divine self. So I want to show you one of the things that's really important, and a way that you can, you know, if you're trying to make a decision about something and you want to get a message, you want to get a yes, no, like how true is this for me? Here's the way you do it. So the question is, how accurate is your intuition right now? And here's what I want you to do. You can see this ruler in front of you. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and then close your eyes. And when you're ready, open your eyes and let your eyes scan up and down, and then it will stop on a number. So you can imagine like this is 100, excuse me, and it will stop there. All right, so this is just for you to see how accurate is it right now, and then I'm going to show you how it's going to change. So close your eyes, and I'm going to ask the question. You can ask this question, how accurate is my intuition right now? Open your eyes and allow your eyes to scan. And mine right now is 70. It's on a 7. My eyes lock on a number. And it's not good or bad, it's just a number. And then when you've got that number, and it's sort of like your eyes will just stop there, all right? And just trust that. This is you learning to trust that your eyes are the windows of your soul. It knows where to stop. Is that what I want you to do now is take a drink. Have a drink. And I'll tell you why this is important in a minute. Close your eyes again, and now ask yourself, how accurate is my intuition now? When you're ready, open your eyes. Mine's gone up to a 9. What about yours? What I want to tell you is, this is one way that you can judge. This is how you can ask questions and get the answer that you need, right? So how accurate is this for me? How true is this for me? And what's really important to know is that when you're doing intuitive work, you must be hydrated. We're an electrical system, and our system of, you know, working in the physical body, having messages come in, light messages, and everything moves so fast, you must be hydrated. So if yours just went up, it's because you're a little bit dehydrated. Make sure that you drink before you use this method, right? Make sure you're hydrated. So how's that? Is that interesting? I hope you found that useful. That's something that you can use. You can draw a number line. You can put it up on your, you know, cupboard or something like that. If you want to ask yourself, you know, is this right for me? 5, you know, 1 is a no, 10 is a yes, or you can use it however way that you like. I like it because it gives you degrees. It's not just yes or no. It gives you a degree of how accurate is this, or You can ask yourself questions that more give you an accurate sense of where you're at. And something doesn't have to be 100. Your intuition really should be 100 or 100 plus. So I would need to do something else. If I were doing intuitive work tonight, I would need to do something else to take me up to over 100 or over 10, right? Because I need to be really tuned in. And it might be that I need to take more water. It might be that I need to stand up and stretch. It might be that I need to do a couple of deep breaths. It'll be something simple. So make sure that you're at 100 when you start to do intuition work. Okay. Hope that was interesting for you. All right. And the question I want to ask you is, how would being more confident in your intuition affect your life? So if you really knew you could just tune in like that, right? You could go to your intuition and get a sense when you needed to. Because I know for a lot of people, team, it's really hit and miss, and I just don't really know how to do that in a way that's practical. And that's what I will be teaching you in the Art of Joy. The Art of Joy is I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually take you through how to connect with your guides. I'm going to teach you something that I developed called the Message Bank Intuition Guidance System, right, which is a way to get your messages in a practical sense from your guides or from, you know, higher self, you might like to call it, or from God. I'm also going to teach you my abundance divine timing alignment system, which is going to align your energy with abundance. Because your energy, your physical, your energetic body needs to be aligned if you want abundance to come in. I'm going to teach you how to do that. It's a special system I developed myself, and it's one I use myself all the time. I'll be teaching you how to do that, and in order that you can have more confidence and trust in, you know, relying on yourself and, you know, coming back to the place that's in alignment again, rather than relying on other people, doubting yourself, like moving out of that lower vibration and back into where you can be more confident and trusting. All right. And here's Trish. And Trish has worked with me to learn my intuitive systems, and she says she was surprised by her intuitive messages, how easy they were, how much joy was in their intent. And it's amazing when you connect with your guides what they will help you with. And that's what we're doing in the Art of Joy, is actually connecting you with your guides so that you can get messages from them. And we're going to find out who is your actual joy guide, your personal joy guide. That'll be really interesting. It's different for everybody. I'm going to guide you through that process as well. When you do it with me, you find that you'll be able to do that tuning in easily. It's a lot more easier than trying to do it on your own. And Trish says, if you could pay someone to provide you with happiness and fulfillment, you wouldn't hesitate. We spend money on something we think will give us happiness and fulfillment, like a holiday, fashion, etc., except these are superficial fixes. This is an investment in a deep spiritual lifelong journey, and it's an inner journey, and it certainly is. So thanks, Trish, for your feedback. So once again, Art of Joy is all about and built on those three really important things. It's about imagination. It's about changing your brain, you know, neuro reinvention, using your thoughts, your imagination, your way of seeing things, and having that be really aligned, you know, and in being able to create the future that you want, being able to reperceive the past you don't, really shifting, really reinventing your whole self, your brain, your mindset. Then there's connection, which is connecting in with yourself, getting that really connection to be, you know, when you're connected with yourself, you make decisions more easily. You trust yourself, and you just begin to trust life. You move back into a different frequency. And when you're connected with your guides and you feel that you're supported and loved and know that you're not alone, it's really important. You know, you can imagine how more joyful you feel. And self-expression is so important, being able to bring yourself back to color, being able to express yourself creatively is part of the program. So that's what it's all about. I hope that sounds really interesting to me, I'm really excited about being able to bring you all these things in one program. I don't know any other program that does this, or anybody else that does this combination. Sometimes you can get things that are just about, changing your mindset, or you can get things that are just about learning intuition, or something that's just an art program. But to actually bring these all together, I think is really unique, and that's why it's so powerful, is you're actually addressing all the things that contribute to bringing yourself back in different ways that bring you back to joy consciousness and help you stay there with fun, with the creative fun of it, feeling inspired, and it brings your energy back. You feel more energetic when you're actually in alignment, because you feel happier, and just logical, right? So I ask you, would you like to experience more joy in your life in the next 6 weeks? Because if you would, the Art of Joy is open now for members. And if you could implement all the things that I've talked about in this program, what would be different in your life? Like if you could be in joy and be, having your mindset different, your creative energy flowing, your abundance energy beginning to flow. If you could have, the connection with yourself be stronger, and with your guides, knowing that you're supported, how would things be different? I mean, what would your life look like? So the Art of Joy is about 6 weeks to ignite your joy, unleash your abundance, your vitality, and your creativity. Once again, as I said, the 3 things that's built on are imagination, bringing you back into your mindset, right? Looking at your mindset. What are you doing up here? And not going to the future negative. And, how to change that, how to reinvent all of that, what you do about thinking about the future, about the past, about doubting yourself. How do you begin to change all of that? And the second one is about connection, that higher connection, self, guides, intuition, so important to be connected, your soul connection, because you begin to get connected with who you really are and why you are here. And that in itself brings you, that's a joyful thing, to actually know you are important, you do have a mission here, and you are here for a reason. And the other one is self-expression. Your ability to express yourself in a different way, in a non-verbal way, in a color way, in a way that brings consciousness to a page. Right, brings your joy consciousness, lifts your consciousness. I mean, all creativity, anything creative it's like the work of God, really. Creativity is something that, as beings, we have this gift to be able to do it. It's a bit of a skill, all right? But I can show you the skill, but everyone has creativity. Imagine being able to be, what it would feel like to really be joyful again. Imagine, if you can live a peaceful and fulfilled life, have more energy, and just, really feel like no matter what's going on in your life, that you can be in joy, even if stuff isn't the way you want it to be. But as soon as you start to come back into joy, things will start to appear. Your energy will change. I mean, it's the law of the universe. The law of the universe is when you come to joy and you begin to vibrate differently, so the universe will support you. Things will start to change. You will start to attract. That's just law. It's not, that's just the way things work. The alternative is... The alternative, look, if you face facts and look at how it is right now, like the reality of things that you're experiencing at the moment, if nothing changes, if things still stay the same, what's going to be the impact on your life? All right. I love this picture because it's a bit like, I just can't do this. It's too hard. Reminds me of when I used to go to the gym. I don't want to do this. It's too hard. I'm just going to sit here. If you don't do anything different, that's the kind of, I guess, it's a metaphor for, being stuck. And, there are sometimes there are roadblocks, there are things that people say, because when you're anxious or overwhelmed, you can feel like, oh, maybe I just can't do this, like there are things that we put in the way. There are things that we say, well, I know I'm feeling this way, but you need to think about what are the obstacles, what are the things that are getting in the way, what are the excuses you're putting up, what's holding you back or stopping you from getting what getting what you want, and creating the life that you really deserve to have. And joy is a natural state. It's how we were born, and it's really who we should be all the time. But even if we just moved into it some of the time, how different that's going to be. That's what the art of joy is about. One of the things that people say is, well, I don't have time, to do this. But time's a relative thing. We make time, right? Time is not a real thing, and it's about the priorities that we choose. And I know that a lot of people put everyone else before themselves, and that's why you feel overwhelmed, and that's why you feel can feel anxious, is that you actually don't have enough time. You haven't given yourself enough of that time and set it aside to make yourself important for what you need to create. When you give out a lot to other people, and when you spend, a lot of time worrying, you could easily take that time back, right, and spend it doing something that's actually going to create the life you want. All right. Forget about worrying all night. Now you need to be spending time shifting back into the mindset and into the connection and into the flow of creativity and abundance that really is your birthright. So it's not about time. There's plenty of time. You just decide how you want to use it. Sometimes people say, I'm just too tired, too tired to do it. That's it's just easier to keep on doing what I've been doing. The reason that you're tired is because you're not in alignment with joy. When you're not in alignment, joy gives you more energy. You feel more excited. You feel motivated. Your fatigue disappears. When you're worrying is what creates the tiredness. Yes, doing a lot of things create tiredness too, but often we're doing, and really not, we're in a sort of routine, not really getting anywhere, and not giving ourselves the self-care and the, finding the way back home to being who you really are. It's not about tiredness. Your tiredness will go away as soon as you find yourself back to joy. And the other thing is, sometimes it's really hard to imagine. You can be stuck because you can't imagine a different reality. You can't imagine how can I be joyful in the situation that I'm in, or how can I be joyful? It's been so long, but it's time to get your joy on and live your purpose, because that's when you get back to this frequency, is you actually rediscover who you really are, and everything starts to change. And what really holds you back is fear. What holds you back in life, and for all of us, the biggest thing is fear. And your life may change. You may create what you want, but you may also never really feel the way you want to feel. You may never really feel the joy that you want. You might be a joy pretender. You pretend that everything is okay. Push everything aside, push it down, but it's still there. And you may miss out on the connection to your guides. You may never really have the trust and the confidence in yourself to be doing what you know you should be doing, to do what you're here to do, and be on purpose, and be attracting abundance and attracting the things into your life that you want, to shifting, getting rid of the self-doubt, and, still doing some of the things that are your responsibilities, but being the person you need to be, even if life is still, there are things you need to be doing, because it's you that is creating the energy around you. It is you coming from within. The external things are not the things that need to change. They will change when you change. You don't want to remain a slave to doubt, to self-doubt, to anxiety and worry and overwhelm, and not have the freedom that you deserve, and not be on purpose in your life. So who's the program for? Well, let me see. I wrote this down actually. So I really wanted to read this to you. So if you are ready to have expansive joy and abundance, it's for you. If you're willing to release the sadness, willing to release the overwhelm and the anxiety and the worry, it's for you. If you're really yearning to be connected to your heart and know what it's like to really trust your intuition and be connected to your higher self, it's for you. If you are aware that your mindset has been sabotaging you and preventing you from feeling happy, and that you want to reinvent yourself and your future, it's for you. If you're excited to activate your creative spark and express yourself in a different way, express your consciousness on a page, it's for you. And if you're open to working with your spiritual self and with energy medicine concepts, it's for you. And it's not for you if you're happy with your life right now, if everything's going smoothly, if you feel closely connected to your intuition and you feel that things are showing up that you want, and you're, in your creative spirit and everything's flowing well with ease and grace, it's not for you. And it's for you if you have a bigger vision for yourself. If you're ready to step into the space where you can be expansive, where you're willing to reinvent your mindset, where you are willing to get into and trust your guidance, right? And learn a process that will help you do that easily. It's for you if what you really want is to feel peace and to feel joy and to feel energetic, to feel energetic again, vibrant, and to feel inspired. It's for you. And if you want to master your mindset so that you can, you want all of those things working together, your mindset, your connection, and your creative energy, then it's for you. If you get the feeling that those three things are, like I do, all of those things have to come together, not just one of them. All of them have to come together. And if you can feel like I can right now, the expansiveness of that and the truth of that, then this is for you. So imagine having a life of trust and joy, connected to spirit, feeling confident and inspired that you can make your life a masterpiece. I like to throw in the art thing there, because really life is a masterpiece. So if you want to tune in and trust your intuition with ease and grace, if you want to activate the power of your creative inspiration, because in your creative energy, in the inspired energy, you begin to create abundance, you begin to attract and manifest things that you want. If you want to align your energy system for abundance, because getting your alignment is right as well is really important. And we're going to reprogram your thoughts and create motivation, confidence, and joy. So the Art of Joy is 6 weeks to ignite your joy, unleash your, Unleash your abundance. Yep, your vitality and your creativity. Okay, the Art of Joy is a summary. This is all it is. It's 6 weeks of live lessons, 1 per week. And here's a list of what we'll be doing. The first one is about reinventing and reprogramming your mindset so that you can create happiness, you can create healing in your body and peace. Second one is to tune into your intuitive wisdom with confidence. The third week is to meet your joy guide, find out who that is and receive personal messages, like messages that are specifically for you from your guide. I'll show you how to do that. Number 4 is how to realign that flow of energy, how to get your energy system aligned for abundance and divine timing. Number 5, week 5, is finding out what's your true source of joy and happiness. In the things that you say that you want, there are embedded things that will help you tell you what's really important to you. And week 6 is the flow, igniting your creative flow, which is we'll be doing, creating a joy mandala, and I'll be guiding you through that process. Pretty straightforward. So just some simple features. The what, the how of this is, they're all live with replays. It starts on a Thursday, October the 19th in Sydney. I will know what time once I talk to all the members. And there'll be a Facebook group, private Facebook group for you, so we can all be in the same place and talk with each other and have that sense of community and spirit with each other. And you'll have a lifetime access to all the lessons. I have got some bonuses as well. So here are the bonuses. On top of that, you're going to get 2 other video lessons. The first one is I'm going to share with you how to create your own personal joy affirmation, because affirmations are very individual. Unless they actually align with you, actually you have the resonance for you that's right for you, sort of 100 plus resonance for your energy, then an affirmation doesn't always hit its mark. And I'm going to show you how to do that with my creative affirmation generator. So that's an extra lesson an extra session I'm going to give you on video for how to do that. I'm also going to show you how to reinvent your past. In other words, how to flip your perception of past history that's stealing your joy in the present. Because a lot of people get stuck in the past, and, you know, there's a lot of guilt, regret. That can be, you know, you can feel depressed. And I want to show you how to flip that and turn it into actually something that is a positive, how you can turn it into confidence in yourself, right? Pretty amazing. So these are valued at $500. Bonus 3 I'm going to give you is the live healing intention circle. So on top of the 6 live sessions and on top of the other 2 bonus lessons, I'm going to do a live healing intention circle. So that's where we'll all come together, and you can set your own intention. I will guide you through the whole process. I will help with the healing process, and have everybody, you know, when we come together, the energy is really powerful, because when you come together as a group, that combined consciousness, you know, we're not separated, and we all have an intention for healing. We come together. It's really powerful. So you'll really enjoy that. That's bonus. That's also a $500 bonus. And I've got something else for another bonus, which is I've got some 6-minute meditations that I'm putting into MP3 format. And what they are is 6 live meditations that I did recently, and I'll edit them and put them into downloadable MP3s, so that what these are is a way for you quickly to come into alignment again with your heart, with where joy resides, right? So you can increase your vibration, and in really enjoyable and a simple and easy and quick way, bring yourself back, right? And so I'm going to give you those as well. They're valued at $300. The total value of the Art of Joy program is it's over $5,000. Its price, actually, it's not $5,000, but it's $997. You can make 1 payment or 3 payments of $333, whichever suits you. And it also has something else. Now, I'm just going to tell you this, and then I'm going to give you the link in a second that you can join the program. Now, this fast action bonus is only for the first 25 people. So I've still got some places left, which is why it's still in tonight's masterclass. And this is a special immersion. This is a VIP group immersion. And what that is a private group, and they're going to have a special guest. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be teaching you some things, and then we have a special guest. This group immersion is we're going to have Jason Irving, who's a friend of mine, who's an absolutely amazing guy. He's a specialist in sacred geometry, in how to bring sacred geometry symbols and the power of sacred geometry symbols to create joy and abundance, to shift your energy. So we know that there are certain shapes and symbols that actually change our vibration. They change our energy. And he's going to do a private meditation healing session for us. And if you want to get in on that, please jump in and join now, so that you can get to be there for the VIP day. All right. And that will be included, and that's valued at $997. So that's an amazing bonus. I mean, that alone is worth the money. I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, that's a private session, and he just doesn't do things like that anymore. You know, it's amazing he's going to come and do that for us. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so I'm just going to put up now. Let me find where it is. Here we are. I'm just going to put up now. You'll see in the sidebar, you'll see where you can now enroll for the Art of Joy. You'll find that in the sidebar there, all you need to do is click through, and you'll find a sales page there, and you'll find the 2 buttons, which is you can join at $997, or you can choose 3 lots of $333. That's by PayPal, and that's in Australian dollars. If you are in the US or somewhere else, if you are US dollars, you can take off about 25% of that. So in US dollars, it would be more like about $750 US dollars. You can pay in US dollars, and then or in Australian dollars, and it will just convert over. You'll be paying in Australian dollars, and then it will just convert in your bank back to US dollars. I think I'm just about at the end. What I want to say, I'm really excited about this program. I have not had a chance to put everything I really know how to do and everything I love to do in one program before. I've run programs before that have had a lot of artwork, a lot of creative stuff, and a bit of healing, or vice versa. But this one allows me to combine everything that I know how to do, which is inner control psychology, which is something I've taught for many years. I used to teach at university, and it's something that I love to teach because it's really powerful and it really works. I also love to teach the energy medicine, just understanding how what we do in our brains and what we do in our psychology changes our energy, it changes us at a whole other level as well. And how, doing creative things also changes our energy, changes our emotions, gives us access to something far greater than ourselves, and allows us to open up the right side of our brain and have that connection with higher power and guides. And, you bring that all together, it's super, super powerful. And that's why I love it so much. It's exciting. I can't wait for it to get started. I've got to wait 2 weeks yet. So, jump in, and I'd love to see you at the program. I would love to have you there, and I'm really looking forward to those of you who feel really connected to, wanting to find in 6 weeks you can easily move your vibration into joy, and then experience connecting to your soul, connecting to the part of you that is so creative that you can create abundance. You can start to manifest the things that you want, that you can increase your energy levels, that you can start to have things show up that you really want to have show up, and it be effortless. It's ease and grace. I mean, that how can it get any better than that? And you can enjoy yourself along the way. So if you have enjoyed that tonight, you might want to jump in and jump into the program. If you are watching the replay and you're not seeing the link, I will post a link for you at the bottom or somewhere else that you can access it, and you can jump in and become a member, and I would love to see you. So I hope that's been useful to you tonight. Love to hear from you. If you want to send me an email, tell me how you enjoyed this, if it's been useful to you, and I'd love to hear from you and see you in the program. Okay, I think that's all I want to say, and so I'm just going to finish off with saying thanks for being here. I love that. I don't know if you ever watched Fractured Fairy Tales, but it's the little fairy at the end saying thank you and thanks for being here. All right, and if you have, if you've been watching this, you're watching the replay, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Feel free to PM me, on Facebook. Join me on my Facebook group, Honor Your Heart's Calling, or you can find me, Jenny McFadden, on Facebook. Come and connect with me. Ask me any questions. If you want to talk to me about this program, if you would like to have a chat with me and find out whether this program is really for you and take it a little bit further, but talk to me first, you're most welcome. Send me an email, PM me. I'll actually talk to you in person and answer any questions for you, or if you want to make a different type of payment system, feel free to get in touch with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Okay. There was one thing. Let me just check. All right. So the only things that I wanted to, so there's a couple of people asking questions, which is, yes, it's every session is live. Every session is live. The reason for that being is that I asked a lot of people, do you want to do pre-record? And they said, no, we would like to have the sessions be live. Even if we're watching the replay, we prefer to be watching live replays because of the energy of it. So that's what I want you to know about that. And because if you miss a session, there is always going to be the replay. So you never really miss it. Doesn't matter what time it's on, but I'll be conducting it live so that it has the energy and holds the energy and the space for you of being in a live presentation when you actually do get to watch it. And just checking. All right. Can't see any other questions at this stage. So if you have any other questions, get in touch with me, and I look forward to talking with you soon. And thank you for being here. Good night.